Last Thursday, the House passed a supplemental operating budget. Can you tell me a little about that?
Well, I'll tell you that I voted for it. It solves some outstanding bills that we have, which I think is really important for the state to address. We've got some bills left over from the OSO slide, and then some left over from the Carlton Complex fire in eastern central Washington. And so it pays those bills, and I think it's important to do that.
The House also passed a bill dealing with the involuntary commitment of mentally ill individuals. What can you tell me about this legislation?
Well, it's called Joel's Law and addresses more of the problems that we have dealing with mental health patients. Joel was a young man who was off his medication and was threatening to do harm. And we passed this bill last year out of the House. It got lost in the final days of session, and we started early on it this year. And again, I think it's our attempt to begin addressing the many, many challenges that all states have when it comes to dealing with mental illness. It's a tough one for us because we haven't always really talked openly about mental illness. I think we're doing a much better job of that, and that's helping us address the problem. But this Joel's Law will give a family the ability to have a loved one committed if that individual is showing danger to himself or to others. And I think it's a good start.
Since the beginning of session, constituents from the 9th District have traveled to Olympia to meet with you. What have you been hearing from folks back home?
I can tell you that they're very, very concerned about anything to do with cap and trade, a carbon tax, very, very concerned about raising the minimum wage. And I always say, people in the 9th District are much, much different than, say, someone in downtown Seattle. I have a daughter that works at Amazon, and I sometimes drop her off at work, or I'll pick her up, and I see those individuals, most of them six-figure salaries, and they don't think a thing about paying their barista $15 an hour to make their coffee. But if you come to downtown Pullman or downtown Palouse or Pasco or Colfax or Clarkston, salaries might be a third of what people are making in downtown Seattle. So somehow we've got to address that. We're working our way through that process, hearing ideas. I think it's probably not a good idea to have a different minimum wage in different towns throughout the state. That makes it very difficult. So we're trying to work our way through that process to decide how are we going to figure out how to address some of the economic differences in different parts of the state. I'm really committed to addressing those needs for the 9th District.